been a long time, and people have been asking, when are you going to do season 2? When are you going to finish season 2? You only did one part of Chum Kiu, and you know, the key thing is, if you nag someone long enough, eventually they'll break. But as you know, I've been very busy with other side projects that I've been working on, and if you are looking for the perfect holiday stocking stuffer, the book, Karen Rise, is actually out now on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. And this is what's basically sucking up the majority of my time now. If you haven't gotten it, go pick it up. Really appreciate it. And I'm going to tell you exactly why the book is sucking up that much time. And then, yes, I will go into part 2 of Chum Kiu, and then hopefully by next week I'll do part 3. And so forth. First of all, the book itself, you know, the main goal, it's an 8-part series, and the main goal of the book is to teach the entire art. Okay, now many of you who have bought the book and fans of the site have been like, okay, I got the book, it's great, and then all of a sudden you're like, it's a story. Where's all the Wing Chun involved? And yes, if you actually look at it, it is a story, and you know, I teach in a very particular, unique style. So I made a story from the scratch to teach the art. And why is that? Because from my experience, if you remember the story and if the story is good, it sticks, the lesson in it sticks. And while it's not directly stating to do this and that in a particular set order like my videos are doing, the book Karen Rise has a ton of Wing Chun in it. If you actually know exactly what to look for. There's a ton of Wing Chun in literally every chapter that I wrote. Now, in 2015, basically next year, our plan is, or my plan is, the iBook format, or the iBook version of Karen Rise, The Cast of Shadow is going to come out. Now, the iBook format is different from the book that's coming out, but it actually ties in with one another in the sense that the story ties into the student guide, and the student guide ties in also to the teacher's guide. And you'll actually see why the story plays such a significant role, because the student guide literally is a roadmap from step by step of level 1 of how to learn the foundation of Wing Chun. Pretty much, you could say like how everyone enjoys the season 1 of Beginner's Guide. This is a new updated version of Beginner's Guide to the T. Literally from step 1, 2, 3, from learning how to punch to shift and everything that you need to know from first form. I go into detail. This is actually the curriculum that I've created to preserve the art so you actually know how to do Wing Chun. Then from a student guide, we also have the teacher's manual. And the teacher's manual will actually go in depth as far as how to teach someone at this level and what to look for to teach. And literally, you know, you can say it's like 3 in 1: the story, the student guide, and also the teacher's guide. So you can see the whole big picture, and then eventually it's a whole series of 8. So it does require a lot of time. So without further ado, I'm going to do part 2 of Chum Kiu, okay? I'm only going to do half the sections because that's really all you really need to see. So after you finish the first section, you end up back in this position again, in second section. Now the second section of Chum Kiu, there's really no name for this. One of my students came up with the all-in-one because there's so many motions involved with this. This involves a front kick, a snap, a hammer fist, a step slide, and a bong sao happening pretty much in one motion. Not in one motion, but in a sequence of motions, okay? So it'll look like this. Snap, step, adjust, okay? That's the first motion. No name for it. It's just going to be called the all-in-one. I've grown fond of calling it that. So to break down the motion first is, this first motion is actually called circle front kick. Okay, circle front kick, not in the sense that if you look at it from this perspective, I'm circling so much, but I'm not, when I do the front kick, I'm not turning and then doing the front kick, okay? It's basically, by the time I turn, I'm kicking at the same time, so that in turn instills the circling motion of the front kick. So when I circle front kick, and this should be about waist level high, I'm also doing a lanzao hammer fist motion here, okay? So this is all at the same time, snap, and then jet gur. Now jet gur is basically snapping motion. After the front kick, I snap, jet gur. And then after this motion, I do a step slide motion. Okay, step slide is one of the footworks we've covered, I think, in the beginner section. Hopefully we've covered that. If not, we're going to have that in detail in 2015 when I cover it in the book format. So step slide is simply as it says, step and then slide, step and then slide. So for this motion here, I'm going to kick, snap, and then step slide. Okay, but with the step slide motion is going to have the bounce out here. One thing to remember when you do this motion is you want to be square to the target. And the square to the target is this motion. A lot of times you'll see the kick and you'll see half the body in view in this perspective. Okay, you actually want to be from this perspective and then do the kick. The kick needs only to be about waist level. Okay, waist level. And don't worry about speed, don't worry about power. The main thing is to have control of the technique. So for example, a lot of times you can go, okay, I don't care about that, I want the bounce. I want the bounce kick, snap, see how I control it, step slide, and then finish it off. Now, this sequence that happens next, I want you to view it afterwards. After the kick, snap, bounce out, step slide. 2 hands drop. This is right here, double times out right here. Now I'm going to do 2 more step slides with bounce out. So it looks like this. Step, drop, step, and then from here, uppercut, short punch, lops out. Twist out motion, circle, and come back. And that's it. And the same thing on the other side. But let's go in detail exactly what we want to develop. I gotta tell you, from my own experience, this motion after you do the kick and then the step slide here, this is the hardest sequence I've had. I struggled with this for a long time. The timing on this is very important. But the timing on this is, by the time I step on here, I want to have the bounce out. So a lot of times you'll see like this, step, and then the bounce out. But if you look at the timing on that, by the time I step, the bounce should be out, and then this leg should adjust afterwards. Okay, this will be like the last leg moving. So if I look like this, that's wrong. Okay, by the time I step and I'm still trying to shoot out the bounce out, that's still wrong. So from this motion, after I'm here, I do double time here. When I step, by the time I step, bong, and then leg adjust. Okay, the reason you do that is the development process of this is, by the time you step, you want the guard up. So think of it like here, your hands are here. I step, my guard's not up, and then all of a sudden the punch comes in. No, by the time I do the bounce out, the bong is up, and you already have it protected. The reason you have this leg lagging in behind, and remember, it's not dragging, it's sliding, is by the time, when this hand is up, the force is here, this has time to adjust, to kind of calibrate to deal with that force. But by the time the force is here, you end up finishing this technique at the same time, you won't have room to adjust to that force. So that's why that sequence from here, step, and then adjust, should look exactly like that, okay? By the time I step, bounce out should be up, and this is just less. So I'm going to exaggerate this motion a little bit more from here, and then see how it's the last one to adjust. As far as placement of this, for bounce out, okay? For bounce out, think of it this way. If you're standing Ichikima, okay? I have my bounce out here. Wrist is in the center from this part on, right? From this part on, and I shift, look, my hand is exactly in the same spot. Okay, that's key. A lot of times people end up going here and opening up, or here, they shift and they end up here. This placement of bounce out is here, right where I'm at a square. When I end up turning, it's exactly in the same spot also. You see that? See, I keep it in the same spot. That's the key thing, okay? So from the snap kick, boom, jet guard, step, here, drop. So both hands drop, right? I step and adjust, drop. I step and adjust. Now from here, I want to wind up. See how I wind up? Uppercut, uppercut. Now from the side perspective from here, uppercut. Okay, this pull back here helps to balance off the technique. All right, so don't just go uppercut on one side. From here, circle to uppercut, short punch. Okay, so from here, circle, uppercut, short punch. Lapsa motion. Now the next lapsa motion is simple, but you want body to lead the motion, and that's the difference that you see from going from Silentang to Chum Kiu. When I say body leads the motion from here, you don't want to go lap and then turn. I want to go from here. I turn. See, by the time I turn, my elbow sinks. My elbow sinks and my lat stop follows, okay? So I'm going to exaggerate. Turn, elbow sink, palm, okay? Or lock. So from here, 1, see? 1, okay? I'm exaggerating it so you can see that. But basically when you see me do it, it looks like it's all going in 1. I end up back in the Ichiki Ma stance. So uppercut, punch, snap, twist on motion. This goes down and then snaps forward into a straight line. Circle and then pull back. That's part 2 of Chum Kiu. Some of the main points that I covered, but really that thing is probably the most difficult part. Getting the timing of this at the same time. A lot of times I struggle to do it at the 1 and then step, trying to get how do I do it at the right time. You'll come to understand why that's difficult if you actually practice it, and that's part 2. Part 3, I'll cover next week. Okay, we'll go into detail next week of how to do part 3. And then finally, I think I want to do a little detail on overall the whole form itself. All right, so hopefully this helps. I totally apologize for not completing season 2, but like I said, we're gonna season 1 and season 2 that we have on YouTube are scratching the surface. Those are good stuff to help you out, but the level of detail I'm not too happy with because otherwise I'd be talking on YouTube for hours as far as each individual subject. But all right.